should add a note in reference to the last recording and so on, that so often God will use, if you like, someone who's very ungodly to be an incredible blessing to whoever he chooses. I mean, let me give you a sort of a worldly example. Al Capone, and I've given this example before, haven't I? In spite of all his obvious historistic record, loved and cared for various households, and probably his own ethnicity, of course, which would have been, I think, Sicily he came from, so Sicilian. And they saw him as an absolute angel. I mean, he would provide for them and in their poverty and so on, help them with housing and so forth. Absolute lovely chap to them. And they thought the world of him. It's bizarre, isn't it? But lovely too, when you recall that God can use you and has done, to be an absolute blessing to some people. Sometimes consciously you wanted to bless them, you wanted to help them. Sometimes without really realizing it, you've been an absolute angel to them at the right moment. I can remember coming to New Zealand and we didn't have occupations, jobs. We'd have had to go home again after 3 months if we ran out of cash, you know. And one head of department was kind enough to ask his friend, who was another head of department in another university, and within a week we were, in less, we were set up with occupation and income. You know, one of us registered, my wife was registered to do a doctorate, and both of us had some teaching to do. And as it turned out, in that year, we had 3 universities that simultaneously we were doing bits of courses and earning income in, you know. And in both cases, I'm pretty clear that they were, well, one of them was definitely secular, the other one was probably secular, and we weren't at our most spiritual. We were, dare I say it, we were too busy loving each other and the excitement of being in a new country and so on. We weren't the sort of mystic, devoted to God mode at all. And God was blessing us and providing for us. Do you see, he loves us? Like you love your kids. Before they love you, you love your kids. It's your gift to them. You don't have to be godly to do this. Well, it is who you actually are. You're a child of God. And you find yourself doing it because they're your kids. And you so want their life to be good, as you understand it, of course. But you so want them to be blessed. You might not be using that jargon, of course. You might see that you want them to be a success, or from a worldly point of view even, because that is your point of view perhaps. But you see, your intention is actually the purity of God in you. For we are born of God. Genetically, we are creators, lovers, if you like, in that same sense. We have have this incredible capacity to love, this extraordinary ability to just want to give. And the reward is to know purely that the other person's life has been blessed and helped. You see, we are children of God. Open our eyes, Lord, that we see you. Love you, Lord. Love you, Dad. Where was I? Hang on a minute. Let me recap. Right, well, what I wanted to draw attention to is, well, quite simply, you don't have to be an angel of light to be a blessing. We are children of God. We are an incredible mixture. While we're kids, we're not au fait yet with how to be an adult by any means. We're loving this and hating that, and God, dear, oops, what's he doing now? Pick him up, don't let him go in there, he'll hurt himself. Yeah, and yes, God loves us. Our parents love us. They should do. And we have the fun of being a blessing. And it's so good to know that God's used us in this way. Had us be a blessing and a help. We turn to God not because our record's good, but because we would love it to be so in the future. And we look to Him to achieve it in us, in the assurance that He loves us, because He's our Dad. And if we as rather incapable children can strive to be a good parent, how much more is God purposed to bless His children, our very selves.